2004, eBay was quite a new thing in those days, and I started collecting vintage fabric. I just loved it. It became a passion. I became a real fabric geek. I collected mid-century modern fabrics from Brighton boot sale, and I sourced them from all over the world. And I started in the evenings just making them into cushions and selling them, and earning quite good money just on the side while still teaching. 2006, I found out that I was living around the corner from a really cool screen printing studio in Brighton, and I took up a 6-week evening course, and then I was asked to exhibit some of my screen prints in a local open house in the Brighton Festival, and that's when I got spotted by a company called the Art Group, who then signed me up for 10 years and started producing my screen prints as posters and prints and cards in Habitat and other stores. And the irony is that the work they chose to use had just been the work that I had just done a few weeks before on this screen printing course. It just happened purely by chance. Also at that time, I was spotted in another open house by somebody who was starting up a kids' clothing company called Cloth Kits, which had been around in the 70s, and she was relaunching it online. And this involved designing patterns and for fabric for children's clothes and toys. And so I did quite a lot of work for her. That was really fun. 2007, I started selling my screen prints on a site called Etsy, which is an American site. And it was relatively new then. I know these days tens of thousands of people are joining every week, but in those days there must have just been a few thousand sellers perhaps, and so it was quite easy to sell your work. I was still a full-time music teacher, but every waking free second I would just go home and illustrate designs, and then go to the drop-in studio, pay my tutor to expose my images on silk screens, and she would then give me the screens, and I'd just go for it. I'd print loads and loads of prints, loads of fabric, just not necessarily because I was thinking of selling them. I just loved doing it. It just felt like the right thing for me to do. And I suppose in the back of my mind I was thinking, how can I wangle a career change to do this one day, because I was starting to enjoy screen printing more than teaching. 2008, which is hard to believe. 2008 was a great year. 1 week after I left teaching for good, we adopted a baby girl, which was really my dream. For years I'd wanted to be a mum, and I'm gonna mustn't cry. And it's funny because I so much wanted to be a mum, probably for about 6 or 7 years. And after we were so lucky to adopt Polly, I decided that I was never going to go back to teaching. I was going to go for this new career. I was going to pay our way, and I was going to make this career work no matter what, no matter how many hours it took. I was just going to make this work, so she would never have to go into childcare, and I could be with her as much as possible. So fortunately, she slept really well. Every time she went to sleep, I'd work. She was in the papoose when I was on the sewing machine. I worked every night. I never got maternity leave. I just threw myself into it, and I seemed to have so much energy because I was loving being a mum. I was loving this new career, and I was just so determined to be successful at it. That very same week, when I was pushing Polly in the buggy past Habitat in Brighton, I spotted my cards in the front in the window, alongside Dick Bruner's, who was my childhood hero, illustration hero.